Hey guys, welcome back to another one of our great webinars. I'm your host, Isaac Hyman, and we'll be talking all about today our $1,000,000 flows and how to implement them for your business. These are the flows that I myself have built out in the top 1% of e-commerce brands, and I'm excited to share with you not just the building and the structure of it, but the strategy that went into it, how you guys can implement it for your own brand, and the top flows that are going to drive the most revenue for your business. I happen to notice that we actually had a start time of 1 p.m. We actually had programmed it in. Usually we go live on our webinars around 2 p.m. Eastern, but apparently there's a little bit of an error there. So we're actually going live now, 2 p.m., not 1 p.m. And either way, you'll get the recording and you'll see exactly how to do this for yourself. So $1,000,000 Flows Email Masterclass. And the cool thing I'm about to share with you also is that most of these flows, ESP agnostic. They work with any email platform. A lot of you are on Klaviyo. I'm going to show you how to use it on OmniSend, ListTrack, Sale Through, SendLane, any platform you're on right now. These will work for your business. So let's jump right in. Let's go get started. Make sure we're live everywhere we need to be. Right here. Perfect. Okay, let's get started. So my $1,000,000 Flows Masterclass right now. Here's what you'll learn in just about 45 minutes. How the top 1% of e-commerce brands actually strategize and implement their email and SMS flows that double revenues every single year without blowing their email budget. That's a key part. You want to make sure that you're not sending too much to your list and rising your Klaviyo costs. Not many people talk about that. So I'm going to share with you exactly how that happens. On this webinar, you'd get my $1,000,000 AIM flows framework, which is how to hit customers at the exact moment they're ready to purchase. So you stop guessing, stop blasting your list, and start converting more of your traffic. I'm also going to share my set it and forget it automation system, how to turn your scattered campaigns and some of your underperforming flows into a fully installed 24/7 revenue engine for your business, and not adding any more work to your plate, right? It's not going to be a lot more on your plate at all. My Swipe and Deploy $1,000,000 Flows portfolio as well, which is my high-performing flows responsible for 7 figures, so you can skip months of testing, costly mistakes, and actually prioritize revenue for your business. It's not just enough to turn on a flow. It's about, are they making money for my business? And are they building a better customer relationship with my list? So I'm going to share with you exactly what to do now. Here are some of the results you can expect from our $1,000,000 Flows framework right now. So number one, here's one of our brands that went from $46,000 in flow revenue to $187,000 in flow revenue in just 90 days. This flow framework really turned their business into a revenue machine and revenue engine on autopilot. Another brand went from zero. They were doing like Shopify email, and they also had a B2B CRM. It's an e-commerce B2B retailer. They went from zero to $80,000 in 30 days with this flow system. Another one went from $21,000 to $78,000 in new revenue just instantly with just the flows that we're turning on right now, right? The campaigns were running in the background, flows were running every single day, and it was a good combination for their business. They were up 261% from just the flows. And then also another great example, this brand went from $98,000 to $326,000 in 90 days as well with this $1,000,000 Flows framework I'm about to share with you. So this is the framework that a lot of brands kind of know, and they have in the back of their head that they should have something like this running. They don't really know where to start. They don't really know what to do. And also, they don't realize that a lot of the advice is actually going to be detrimental in the long run. So that's what we're going to get unveiling and demystifying on this webinar as well. That's why brands are telling us that email marketers never got the foundation until we came along and shared with them a whole new way of looking at things. We had a level of expertise that we simply lacked. These are what the 8-figure brands are talking about. We're not thinking at a 5-figure level. We're thinking at a 10-figure level. So automatically, you're going to get a level of expertise that blows everyone else out of the water. And you took our email program to a level I never knew about, which is awesome. And that's really our goal, right? To make you rethink everything you thought you knew about email and specifically about flows. This client, we doubled sales in year one, but doubling them again this year is mind-blowing, right? Again, this flow structure works consistently every single year on autopilot. Has to be oiled, to be honest. And this is the strategy that generated over $425 million for 150 plus brands out there. I'm going to talk you through a little bit about what that means and how we see the results for that. So by the end of this webinar, you will understand the flow mindset of the top brands. You will upgrade your existing flows to $1 billion level. Again, these are the flows I've built out of the top brands. You'll shrink your Klaviyo costs, wasted time and boring campaigns. You shrink the execution time and just sending mindless stuff. You'll increase and double your revenues without more campaigns, drop your unsubscribe rates, and reduce churn on average by 20%. That's a really cool idea here, because if you're sending better emails, people don't want to unsubscribe from that. And that's really important, because you want people to continue to get your messages. And you'll also be able to build a predictable revenue stream 24/7, 365. So super excited to jump on this with you. Let's talk about who this is really for, right? Who is this $1 Million Flows webinar for? So it's for 7 to 8 figure brands who want predictable cash flow. They want to have something on consistently, not rise and fall with your last campaign. If you're only as good as your last campaign, that's not a retention program. You're just a newsletter. That's not enough. You want to get to the 7, 8, 9, 10 figure level, you got to have predictable cash flow. It's for the 9, 10 figure brands who need top 1% expertise, right? If you don't know what level to get to and you don't know what you don't know, you'll never get there. You need a team in place that actually understands it. It's for brands who are stuck sending 3 to 4 campaigns a week, just mindless campaigns. Let's make up another campaign this week. Let's make up another one next week. Let's make up another one this month. Pointless, right? It's for founders and CEOs who know journeys but can't implement. They know kind of where they want to get to. They know how they want to, what the reaction and what their vision is. They just don't know how to implement it and how to think about it. And their team doesn't really know how to think about it either. You ever have that journey in mind and you're like, yeah, imagine if we could do this and then send them that and then follow up with this and then trigger on that. Well, we know it because we built it, right? So this is what we're going to teach you, how to have the strategy first and the tactics second. And it's for CMOs who want to automate their program and not just send stuff, right? Are you stuck sending stuff every single day, all the time? It's a problem, right? You're constantly reinventing yourself. It's not going to work, right? So you need a flows framework that's really, really high impact. Now, you may be thinking this will increase your costs. Can't burn or spam your list anymore. You don't have time to write or design flows. You're not a Klaviyo ninja. Subscribers don't check emails. My list isn't big enough. That's all good and well. I get it. Okay, but I'm here to tell you, if that is what you're thinking, this is the right place for you, right? This is exactly where you want to be, because I'm going to teach you how to create better flows without sending more, without spending more, without overworking, without babysitting team members, and really without killing your list in the process. So this is going to be exactly where you want to be and exactly how you need to approach it going forward. In fact, there are 3 tiers. There's 2 outcomes and 3 benefits from what I'm about to share with you. Number 1, I'm going to teach you how to make money, right? You increase revenue from every subscriber every day on autopilot. You increase profitability from customers who know, like, and trust you, and perfect the follow-up after every campaign you send, doubling your results. And not just make money, you'll also save money, bring your ESP costs down, shrink your reliance on ads, and really create a flow flywheel. It's hard to say. Create a flow flywheel that makes all your marketing more efficient. That's going to be very interesting to you. You'll see exactly what I mean, because it's part of our strategy, our 4-pronged strategy, which I'm about to just give a little touch on in a second. And best of all, it's worked for 150 plus brands, 6 figures to 10 figures. I myself came from the 10-figure brands. Literally, the $1 billion brands is where I crack the code on things, and I bring it down and distill it down for the smaller brands. Works for dozens of industries: health, beauty, wellness, appliance, electronics, industrial, you name it. I've built it out there. And the ESP agnostic, the logic and strategy I'm about to teach you, works with any email platform, right? You could be on MailChimp, you could be on Klaviyo, you could be on ListTrack, as I said before, and they work no matter what. Those are what the magic of ESP agnostic means. So a little about me. Let's talk a little bit about my background. I'm Isaac. I was a former VP of retention at some of the top 1% of the brands, speaker, author, and agency founder of High Flyer Digital, and also $1 Million Flows. And I literally implement these $1 Million Flow frameworks into brands just like yours. I drop them in. We have the whole structure built out. We just kind of drop it into your account. And we get started. And that's just step number 1 on our flow system, right? I was generating over $425 to $450 million in new revenue for brands, sent about 4 billion emails, managed 20 million member email lists, 20 million subscribers. Isn't that crazy? That's a huge number. Award winner for best email performance, authored the book on it, created the masterclass on it, featured speaker at eTail. eTail's just happened now. I was talking to one of our clients. They were at eTail And I was like, well, if you're at e-tail, say hi to this person, that person. So I know e-tail very well. I've spoken it there like 3 or 4 times. Blue Core, Post Funnel Summit, and I've been on your side of the table. I think that's my biggest benefit and of my background and why I'm teaching on this topic and why I host all these webinars all the time. I've been on your side of the table. I burned my list until my flow strategy came along. Okay. I burned it out and recovered it. My email bill drastically shot up by $100,000 a year. That's not a small amount of money. I've watched every YouTube video and course out there, hired and fired rookie agencies when I was a VP, wasted money on freelancers and non-experts. And until I really had to solve the strategy myself, I had to crack the code on it. And I did. And that's why brands hire me to do it for them now. Our award-winning agency is trusted by over 150 plus retailers and brands, 7-figure brands to 10-figure brands that you know and love. And really that's the proof is in the pudding. If we can do it for some of the biggest brands in the world, you can definitely do it for your 6-figure, 7-figure, and 8-figure brand, no problem. Let's talk a little bit about my background of how I even got here, right? Those that don't know me, I'm actually doing a video on this about my story. And it reminded me of where I started. I started off in sales. I don't know if anyone ever knew that, but I started off in door-to-door sales, literally, not going to lie, like Dunder Mifflin in some ways, right? Knocking on doors, saw 60 businesses a day and sold them office supplies. That was my job when I was in college, right? I was hustling since college. And my first job out of college was digital ads, selling digital ad space to some of the luxury brands, Ritz-Carlton, Lexus, Mercedes, Mandarin Oriental, Millennium Hotels. And that sales background is really what helped me excel in email, SMS, and retention. Because I realized that, number one, the real money is in relationships, right? You don't sell one person an ad over, one issue or one, time frame like the Super Bowl. You sell them 10 ads over 3 years or 5 years, right? Because that's what the relationship is. And if you're not making money on the relationship, well, what's the point, right? So LTV at the end of the day. But it also told me that the money is in the follow-up, right? You got to consistently follow up with people if you want them to trust you, if you want them to see that this is a fit. If you believe passionately in what you're selling, the money's in the follow-up. So the speed to lead is important, and the follow-up is probably equally important. The problem I had was that my boss had a batch and blast approach. All they were focused on was send more emails, blast my list. That was my boss's approach. When I pivoted to e-commerce, my boss said batch and blast. And that's where our bill shot way up, $100,000 bill, way over budget. And my CMO at the time said, you better cut our costs or we're all out of a job. My boss got fired because our costs went way up. That was pretty much his salary at the time. Cut the costs, all out of a job unless we figure out how to crack the code on this. So in a few days, I had to instantly stop batch and blast approach to email, wasting email sends on dormant people, paying my ESP thousands added costs, and burning my list to make a few bucks. It was really challenging to kind of figure out how to do email, SMS, or retention correctly. But when you're under a gun and you have no choice but to go up, well, that's it, right? Burn the boats. You got to go figure out a way to do it right away. So I tried everything you're trying, and I failed just like you. I send more emails, our bill skyrocketed, right? Send 10 touch welcome series. I wasted money on our sends. Hired flow freelancers. I wasted time babysitting them. $20,000 email copy agencies. AI wrote it better. $30,000 beautiful designs. Click rates dropped. I switched ESPs on recommendation and lost half a year rebuilding my flows from scratch. But I realized over time that all you really need for email is segmentation and personalization. That's it. That's the magic behind what we do. If you segment out and find the right person, send them the right message, that's the magic behind email, right? And that's part of my strategy, segmentation and personalization. And just a quick example here, we sent out, and again, this is not the exact example, we just mocked this up in Canva, but we used to send out 500,000 emails and generate $100,000. Now with segmentation and personalization, we sent out half the number of emails and we made 70% more. That's the power of segmentation and personalization. And this brand that I used to work at went from $47 million in email revenue to $73 million in email revenue in just 8 months while sending 12% fewer messages. So you can see that the strategy of segmentation and personalization works. But where it got stuck even more was that we were stuck in a campaign loop. right? We're perfecting our campaigns 10 hours a day, segmenting out an audience, personalizing it to the customer. It got very time consuming, and you're probably facing the same problem where you're sending campaigns out 3, 4, 5 a week. It's overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, I can't keep doing this, right? It's a campaign loop. And every week you're only as good as your last campaign. So I had to figure out a way to crack the code on it. And that's why I added 2 other pillars to my strategy: automation and multiplication. Because if I could automate my top campaigns and automate my system, I will actually make more money, right? Because I only can work, 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours a day, humanly, 16 maybe if it was my brand, right? But automation allowed me to profit and build out a better flow system. And the multiplication, which I'm not talking about on this webinar, but multiplication is how you scale it to more of an omni-channel approach. And if I break it down a little bit more, it's segmentation saves you money, personalization makes you money, automation saves time, multiplication scales your brand. That's my 4-pillar strategy. And we have a cute name for it, right? One's a cost crusher plan, plug and play personalization, set and forget automation system, which is what we're zeroing in on now, and my full flywheel sales multiplier method. But at the end of the day, this was my $1 billion email strategy. That's how it was born, right? Out of necessity. I had to cut costs. I had to figure out a better way of doing email, SMS, and retention. And I came up with a plan. It's a 4-step plan: segmentation, personalization, automation, and multiplication. Today, we're talking specifically about the automation side. And if you want to see how valuable it is, you need to go back to the mindset. My mission and mindset is to help brands like you build better customer relationships. That's it, right? The email will follow. I want to focus on helping you build a better customer relationship because, like I just said, I understand the power of selling one customer 10 products over the next 3 years, right? That's the value of it. I don't want to sell one person on one product forever. That's it and done, right? It's about more products over the lifetime of your relationship. So it's all about building better customer relationships. And if you want proof of that, even Klaviyo joined our movement, right? They started getting on board with the build better customer relationships mindset. We've been saying it for about 7 years already. I even said it when I was VP. I believed in it, right? Back in 2021, 2022. And now this is what we do as well: building better customer relationships. That's why we're trusted by over 150 brands and retailers out there. So it's a mindset shift that your brand needs to have. I recommend you get a copy of my book, 330-page book that tells you how to build better customer relationships with your list. The email, SMS, and retention is nested on top of that. So really definitely check that book out. And that's, again, why we're trusted. So let's get into the specifics of the flows, right? And why you need to rethink your flows now, right? You risk burning down your list for good without taking action today. Reason number 1, sending more campaigns actually kills your list, okay? That's already a fact. I screenshot this brand right here. I've ordered this brand. It is a 9-figure brand. And I had shown them very clearly, right? This is my inbox when I signed up for your list back in September. And they were sending, campaign a day and really 2-3 campaigns a day sometimes. Insane. And I've been there. Again, I've been on that side of the table because I've seen brands do that. They're sending 5 campaigns a day, 3 to 5 campaigns a day, minimum 1 campaign a day, 7 campaigns in a week, right? 28 campaigns in a month, minimum. And what's happening is that they're actually drowning out the flows that are coming in, right? So they're sending campaigns and the flows are running. That's like 2, 3, 4 emails a day. Terrible. Burning that list, burning it down. My way, I'm going to share with you, is great campaigns and greater follow-up, right? When we send a campaign, we let our flows do the follow-up for us, right? For those that don't engage, we'll send another campaign later on. But 80-20, a majority of our audience that's going to actually convert and take an action, the flows will do the follow-up for us. That's one of the steps in my strategy I'm going to share with you. Unfortunately, your brand right now is just running campaigns, and maybe your flows are on, maybe they're doing okay. You don't know, but you're probably drowning them out. So anyone that tells you to send 3, 4 campaigns a week, that's, Bush League, rookies. Reason number 2, over-engineered flows triple your Klaviyo costs. Right now, you may see out there some brands or agencies, or even you hear from experts out there, Let's do an over-engineered flow. Look at our flow structure on the left, right? All these touches and this logic and this conditional splits and all these wait periods and everything we need all looks cool, and that's a pretty cool flow. But when you think about it, you dive deeper into it, what happens is you're sending dozens of emails and none of them are performing. Only thing that's rising is your Klaviyo costs, right? After 3 touches, this brand's welcome flow made no money, but consistently raised their Klaviyo costs. So you don't need a super engineered flow. You need the one that works right. And then you double down on that one, okay? So my way is a better structure because it shrinks your Klaviyo costs and focuses on the flows and systems that's going to actually help you make more money. And then you can invest in those flows. Double down on what works. Don't over-engineer it in ways that doesn't work, okay? I'm going to teach you how to do that. Reason number 3, more flows don't mean more money, okay? This brand had 96 flows running. This is our client right now. Before, right? This is part of our audit we did for them. 96 flows running. Whoa. Only 8 generate consistent cash flow. Whoa, imagine your Klaviyo bill after 96 flows running. Imagine you trying to diagnose something that's broken in a flow. You don't even know where to start. Well, I don't know which flow it is. Someone turned it on, I guess. You know, it's there somewhere. 96 flows? How do you manage that? Focus on the 8 that matter, okay? My way, the right flows, not the most flows. Proven by over 225 million in flow revenue generated. It's about the welcomes and the abandons and the post-purchase. 80% revenue comes from them. So focus on them. If you're not focused on them and you're focused on this new cool flow that's turned on from AI and ChatGPT and you can do this magic thing, you probably won't make money. It's just a waste of time. Focus on the ones that matter the most, the ones that cover up your leaks and create better customer relationships. Really important. Reason number 4, you're not thinking cross-channel. Anyone who's called an email marketer, I guess I can call myself an email marketer, but I'm really about retention and relationship first, right? That's my mission, build better customer relationships. Anyone who has email marketing in their title clearly is on a mission to make everything about email. No surprise. So, and when they're thinking about how to drive your business forward, they're all about send an email, send an email, send an email, send an email, send an email. What we do and what I'm going to teach you is how to think deeper than that and how a rising tide lifts all ships. That's my way, right? So subscriber abandons the cart. Yeah, we can start with the email and then we can start with an SMS. But I'd like to be able to see your brand transcend way beyond that and connect it with Meta and Google and TikTok and run retargeting ads and have customer service call a prospect for a high AOV product, send a mailing, do a push notification. So many ways to think beyond just the email, and that's how our flows are built, right? A rising tide lifts all ships. Again, anyone with an email marketer in their title, they're going to make everything about email, but your brand is bigger than that. You know that there's so many other channels at play. That's why our flows are built with that structure. So those are 4 reasons why you need to look at your flows right now and say, oh my God, I need a better way to operate, right? Okay, there's over-engineered flows. You're running too many flows. The flows you're running are basic, boring, or kind of broken. And then also, they're not thinking omni-channel. They're not set to scale. We talk about the word scale a lot, but they're not set to scale. They're just about email. So what's holding you back from this strategy, right? I want you to be able to say, you know what? Let's eliminate the roadblocks because let's identify what the problem is. We know we need to fix it. Remove the roadblocks. Don't repeat the same things we've been doing. What do you need to do? So problem number 1, biggest roadblock I've seen from brands, you are paying Klaviyo for Ferrari features, but you're using it like a Toyota. I coined that term. I think that's a great term. It's running in my ads all the time. Brands are probably using about 10% of Klaviyo's potential, leaving 90% of it wasted. Same with Shopify. They don't really understand their technology. They have a site. It's working. They're making money. Not a bad thing. Great thing, actually. But you're really not, you're scratching the surface of it. You definitely don't know what metrics are. You definitely don't understand what, I don't have it on my screen, but analytics, you're not using the marketing analytics channel. You don't understand where the customer service stuff is. You maybe don't understand the potential of your flows. You're not using APIs. You're not tracking your attribution levels correctly. There's so many things you're leaving on the table, and it takes an expert to understand, to come in and say, you know what, this is how the top brands are doing it, and let's use it like the top brands. Number 2, right? A 10-figure expert trumps a 5-figure expert. If you're trying to get to 6, if you're trying to get to 7, 8, 9, 10 figures over the next year or 3 years, you shouldn't be listening to 5-figure experts. That won't get you to where you need to get to, right? And who are they? They're glorified designers, copywriters, Klaviyo techies, or AI email bros. You know those guys, right? That create a playbook out of AI in like 5 minutes. I could do the same thing, but I wrote it. I came from the billion-dollar brands, right? Anyone could do that. I do that for other things, like lead magnets, no problem. But they're thinking at a 5 or 6-figure level, which is not going to get you to 7 or 8 figures. You just don't know where the level is, right? You don't know how to get to that next level. We have come from the top brands, and our team is trained with the top 1% methodology, and going from 7 to 8 is easy, right, at that point. So that's problem number 2, listening to 5-figure experts. Problem number 3, your flows are broken, boring, or basic. You're pretty much listening to Klaviyo. It says, turn this flow on, and here's my recommendation, turn on this flow. And I want you to know, Klaviyo is incentivized to make money by how many more emails you send. The more you send, the more they make. Very simple. That's their business model. So as great as they are and good at recommending things, you got to take it with a grain of salt, right? Sometimes they're just here to make sure you're activating your account, you're using it correctly. All good and well, but they make money when you send more. So they're investing in you sending a lot more. And then also on top of that, you can see that most of them that are running that they recommend are just broken, right? 20% of revenue coming from flows, not much, nothing going on. Problem, right? It's not going to help you get to the next level. And finally, problem number 4, you don't realize what's possible. We have a $1 million flows portfolio, which I'm going to share with you later on. We have this is just a glimpse at it. There's probably about 100 to 150 flows I myself have worked on. I know exactly how they run. I know exactly how to turn them on for your brand. And that's the beauty of it. If you don't know what the potential is, you'll never get there. You're just going to you're just going to turn on whatever Klaviyo tells you. And I think there's a lot more potential for your brand. So that is also a problem. You don't realize the level you should get to. It's holding you back. So those 4 things are holding you back. You're not using Klaviyo correctly. You don't realize what's possible. Things are broken or boring, and you're just sending stuff and they're not really hitting the needle, right? They're not really hitting the nail on the head. So eliminate those problems now. Now's the time to start, saying, not going to happen this time. So let's get into my actual $1 million flow strategy and system. This is how the top 1% think about flows and how to implement it in seconds for your brand. Just a quick primer to remind you about why flows matter. Okay, speed to lead means more revenue 24/7. You get to reduce your reliance on ad spend. It's an email, an SMS sent to people who know, like, and trust you, which means more profits. It's personalized, which generates 6 times more revenue than a campaign. It's profitable, predictable, and sustainable revenue stream because it's running 24/7, 365. But again, it's very important to understand it's not about creating the most flows, it's about creating the best flows. And that's where our flow fit AIM strategy comes in, which stands for appropriate, immediate, and moneymaker. That's how we approach every single flow we build. Is it appropriate for what they're doing? Is the action appropriate? Are we following up correctly? Is it immediate? Are we following up in the right time? And is it a moneymaker? Are we generating cash from it? I'm not saying you have to make a lot of money from every single flow, but is it generally going to help build a relationship that's going to be more profitable for you and for the customer at the end of the day? Let's go deeper in what all 3 of those pillars mean in our AIM strategy. Appropriate. Want to send the right message to the right person. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, am I listening enough? Am I paying attention to what they're doing on the site? Is it relevant to the customer? Am I sending something that's relevant or irrelevant? Is it more personalized than a campaign, right? You're sending an email. Which one is more valuable at that time, right? Most likely the flow is more valuable, depending on if you're listening to the right customer. And is it a better email than what I'm sending today? If I had one email to send to my customer today, what would it be? That's the definition of a flow, right? It's more appropriate to send. No one wants to hear you talk about your product or talk about your amazing reviews or talk about what your brand is doing and what you're up to, yada, yada, yada. I'd rather send a message to them that talks about what they're looking at, what they're interested in. That's the conversation. That's a relationship. So that's what appropriate means, saying the right person, the right message. And next step is immediate. We want to send at the right time in their buying cycle. Is it timely? Is it fast enough given their action, right? If they're abandoning their cart right now, Are we following up on the right time? Is it the right time given their journey? Should I be sending a replenishment email at day 30 or day 90? Right? That's the right time given their journey. And will this message be received well? Is it segmented and personalized to a great level that they would like to receive it? Do I feel like I'm communicating with my list and building a relationship with my list and connecting to the person behind the inbox, or am I just talking at them? Most brands talk at their customers. They're not getting anywhere, right? There's a better way. That's immediate. So appropriate, send the right message to the right person, immediate at the right time in their buying cycle. And the last step is money making. Is it worth the time and money to send this email really? Will this improve my customer relationships? Will this generate cash now or in the near future, right? LTV or immediate cash, right? Will this email justify its ROI? Look at those 8 to 10 touch welcome series flows you have on. Is anything after touch 4 worth it? Probably not. It's not justified. There's no ROI. So ramp it down. And is there something better I could be sending, right? To think to yourself, well, let's say I could send this customer a replenishment. I could do 10 replenishment emails, or I can do 1 extra cart abandoned email. Which one's more valuable? Probably the cart abandoned email, right? So it's really have to take it from the lens of money making too. And it doesn't just go into that AIM framework. There's a methodology behind it. I'll just go through this quickly because I talk about this a lot. 80% of your customers demand connection, but you're not delivering. This AIM strategy solves it for you, right? Because 15% of brands just aren't connected, right? That's 80% of 50% of brands aren't connecting with the customers that want it, right? We're just not doing a good job. If 15% of brands are the only ones doing it, 85% aren't connecting with their customers. This AIM flow fit strategy fixes that for you. Because what happens after you see that, your email ROI is tanking. You can't put your finger on why. You don't know if it's your emails, your offers, your copy, your creative. Your email costs keep rising every year and your profits aren't. So you end up blasting your list again and gain 0 clicks and no money at all. And you ignore strategy and projections, leaving thousands on the table. This AIM strategy helps you resolve that because you're sending appropriate emails, they're immediate, and they're money making. Now, when our budget was cut, going back to my story, when my budget was cut, we went all in on automating ourselves. After budget cuts, we automated, broke free from manual sends, used more of the tech we pay for, created personalized experiences at scale, and spent more time working on the business than in the weeds. So that's the beauty of focusing on flows as opposed to just focusing on campaigns. And that resulted for one of the brands, $10 million to $29 million in email and SMS revenue in 1 year using smarter flows. So that's the impact that this AIM strategy has. The more appropriate, the more immediate, and the more money-making your flow emails are, the more you'll make overall. So how do you implement this? How do you get this going, right? So we know the big level strategy, AIM. You want to aim perfectly, right? Your flows are meant to aim and hone in on the target. So how do you implement it? Let's do it. Number 1, listen for signals and triggers from customers every single minute of the day. They're giving you feedback on what they need, right? They visited the site, take action. They earned rewards, take an action. They add to cart, take an action. They search for something, take an action. You can see in your Klaviyo account, or really any ESP, go to metrics, and you can see here's what your customers are doing every minute of the day. And some brands have 30 metrics, and some brands have 300 metrics. I've worked with brands that have 1,000 metrics. And every single metric shows an indication of what your customers are doing. They placed an order, they searched for something, they're active on site, they clicked an email, they add to cart, viewed an item, viewed a collection, hundreds and hundreds of actions that you just have to listen for. And if you listen for that action, all you do is follow up. That's it. That's step number 1 to implementing my AIM flow strategy. Listen and take action. Number 2, you're sending all these campaigns. So take the time to research which campaigns were home runs and which ones are just duds. Repurpose your winning email campaigns into nurture flows, right? Why reinvent the wheel? Identify your top campaigns, zero in on the top creative copy and structure, repurpose them for relevant flows, right? And great example, here's some emails with new reviews. These are emails all about talking about great reviews we have for our product. Well, why don't you add them to your welcome series then? Because clearly these were home runs. You can see some creatives from our team. Add them to your welcome series. Add them to your re-engagement series. Add them to your win-back series, because we know these work. So when you're repurposing your campaigns that work, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, that's a smarter way to approach it, right? So use your winning campaigns. That's what you're sending campaigns all the time for. Use what worked. Number 3, you want to craft your ideal campaign to flow journey. Most people don't realize that when you send a campaign, that the ones that click and come to your site and engage and take an action are your most valuable prospects. 80-20, right? When I send a campaign, majority of the revenue I'm going to get from the campaign are actually not from the campaign. They're from the flows. And if you look at your campaign conversions, you'll find out that, let's say you have 100 SKUs in your portfolio. If you sent an email out, they're probably not necessarily buying the item that you're featuring in the email. They're probably buying something else, right? It could be dozens of other products they're buying. And the flows do the follow-up for you on any campaign. So when you're sending a campaign, craft a great one, not dozens of them, and ensure your flows are built to follow up. So if they clicked an email and viewed a product, you can easily retarget them. And that's segmentation and personalization at scale. There's no scenario where you launch a campaign on Monday and then launch another campaign on a Wednesday and then launch another one on a Friday and then another one on a Sunday. That just drowns out the impact that the flow follow-up has. And that's not a very good journey. It's a terrible journey. So you want to start with a great campaign and let the flows do the follow-up for you. For those that don't open or click or engage, you can send another campaign later, sure. But 80-20, majority of the revenue will come from the people who clicked and engaged, and the flows do the follow-up for you. Great example again. I'm going to go back to that screenshot I shared with you earlier, right? Here's a great example where this brand was sending dozens and dozens of campaigns every single month, and it drowned out the flows. Now, I know a cart abandoned email will get a 60% open rate, 15% click rate, 10% conversion rate. And their campaigns, though, will get a 40% open rate, 3% click rate, 0.5% conversion rate. So which email is better? The cart abandoned one is better. Yet because they have a campaign mindset, which is terrible, they're drowning out the one email that would have converted that customer. So that campaign mindset, dead in the water. I recommend anyone to run. If someone says send 3 to 4 campaigns a month, run. 3 to 4 campaigns a week, run. And the 4th step in our flow strategy, meet your customers where they're at right now. Okay? Stop talking at your customers. 3 to 4 campaigns a week of talking at you. Imagine your phone blowing up, someone calling you and just talking at you, venting to you 4 times a week. What a waste, right? No one wants that. That's why they unsubscribe. Meet your customers where they're at right now. So stop talking at customers, listen to what they want, react to where they're at right now, handhold them across the finish line, and connect with the person behind the inbox. That's the key behind it, right? That's the magic of how to turn your flows and your email program from just making it 10% growth every year to growing by 200% every single year. And the results of that, right? Like I showed you on the past screen, this brand, this is a $1 billion brand, 6% of revenue to 14% of revenue from email and SMS in 1 year. That led to a more predictable cash flow. They went from $10 million a year to $30 million a year, all in a year. That's it, right? So this is the power of the flows and this mindset shift. Now that you understand the why, the strategy, the big picture strategy of what we're talking about from our AIM flow fit strategy, and you understand the how we could implement that strategy with our 4 pillars, right? 4 tactics. Now let's talk about the actual flows and take them to the next level, what I call level 3.0. We're skipping 2.0. Our flows are already 2.0. We're going to go to 3.0 right now and watch your revenues double. So I've proven this from over $450 million in revenue generated from overall email and over $225 million in flow revenue generated. That once again, majority of your revenue comes from your welcome and your abandons. Check it out yourself. Go to your Klaviyo account, look at your revenue. Where's majority of it coming from? I guarantee you'll be surprised. I want to start with the first place of how to think about your flows, right? Which is flows are meant to, help plug gaps. And if your flow is doing the follow-up for you for some of the gaps you have, that's great. That's a good starting point. This is a basic abandoned funnel that 99% of agencies talk about, 98% of brands probably have. Klaviyo talks about it. They recommend you turn on these flows: site abandon, browse abandon, cart abandon, and of course, they make a purchase, right? There's a much deeper level to think about, right? Like I said, this is flows 3.0. This is $1 million flows. This isn't basic flows. Our 10-figure abandoned funnel incorporates every possible leak that you have on your site. This is just a glance at it, right? And it goes way beyond just thinking about cart and browse. It's about collection abandon, search abandon, checkout abandon. So many places where there's a leak in your site, our flows follow up for you. And if I look at it all, it's all about, again, the art of listening. Listen, act, help, close, right? Listen, act, help, close. You got to listen what they're doing. Where are they abandoning on your site? Find every single opportunity where they abandon. You can abandon by page too. Your home page, your site, your search bar, your collection page, your product page. There's so many places on your site that customers are abandoning. You just have to be able to listen and then act on it. So we start with our flow funnel here, which even goes as deep as site abandon. I'm not going to add welcome to this, but welcome is part of this too, right? Because your pop-up plays a major role. So let me go deeper into what each of these stages mean. Obviously, we know about cart abandon, right? And very easy one, add an item to cart, and you want to go beyond the out of the box ones, make it more personalized. Cart abandon can be split into two. There's people who abandon their cart, and there's people who abandon checkout. So easily you can split the two, and it's a 2-for-1 deal, right? People have items in their cart, you send them a cart abandon email. People have items in, abandon at checkout, you send them the checkout. Each one is a different reason for abandoning. People who abandon their cart are focused on, I want to make sure I can get it in time, there's stock, my code works, things like that. Checkout abandon has different pain points. Can I get it in time? What payment options do I have? Buy now, pay later. Is there any friction at the checkout that's holding me back? Things like that. It's a very different, way of overcoming. So when you split it into two, make sure you personalize it to that pain point. And you're able to go beyond email SMS too. Abandoning the cart is such a critical moment of opportunity that you shouldn't just think of email in a silo, right? You got to think beyond just that and expand it. Great example here. Like I said, subscriber abandons their cart. If I made everything about email, well, then I do okay, but it's not enough, right? Because someone who's abandoning their cart, you can target them on SMS. You can send the data to other channels like Meta and Google, run retargeting ads. This is great for high AOV products, $500 AOV, $1,000 AOV. You want to win that sale. So use an omni-channel approach. I can even run retargeting ads. I can have customer service call the prospect. All that is possible with this cart abandon 3.0 flow. That's kind of what we structure for your brand. So it's a deeper way of thinking beyond just a cart abandon email. Next is browse abandon, right? And your basic browse abandon is, turn window shoppers into customers. They're looking at an item, thinking about it, not sure if they have the right color, not sure if they get it faster on Amazon, not sure if they like the reviews here. They're shopping around, the window shoppers, right? And there's ways of focusing on your email should focus on the pleasure points and pain points of it. Customers love it, right? Trust our customers. Don't just trust us, trust our customers. Maybe they didn't find the right size or the right color. So use dynamic recommendations in your email to really position them. Think about it when you're in a store, right? And you try on a shoe, for example. Is that shoe a good fit or not? That's the browse abandon there. And you may kind of say like, no, not for me right now. And the salesperson says, well, can I get you something else? Is there something else you want to try? Can I get you a different size? That's what you're doing with the browse abandon. Same philosophy. But we can level it up to a 3.0 level too and go beyond browse, right? Before I share that with you, look at what BlendJet's doing, right? They're not even listening to what we're talking about. They're telling me all about this pink blender. This pink blender is amazing. I'm sorry, I was looking at the pink blender right there at the very bottom. It's a little blurred out. And all they started talking to me about with their campaigns was National Take the Stairs Day with a red blender, and Soaring New Heights with a purple blender, I guess, right? Because they weren't listening to what we were doing. And that's a missed opportunity. So I want you when you're running browse abandon to listen to what customers are doing and take action on that. And as I was saying before, there's a deeper way to go for browse. So a great example is, let's say I'm shopping for MacBooks, right? And I use Apple a lot because it's easy to understand. If I'm shopping for MacBooks, don't send me a campaign about headphones. Don't send me a campaign about earbuds. Don't send me a campaign about Dell. Don't send me a campaign about cameras. Okay, I'm shopping for MacBooks. Don't distract me with other stuff. Instead, go beyond browse, right, and focus on more in that collection. Great example here from this Focus camera brand. I looked at this item, the Garmin, but they sent me in the next email, they sent me an action cam. That's not what I'm in the market for. They're not listening, right? Your brand needs to be able to listen and react. So this this was what I was looking at on the left. They sent me something else, right? I was looking at smartwatches. They send me action cams. Instead, what they should be doing is sending me more about smartwatches, right? So if I looked at a smartwatch or I looked at a MacBook, send me more about smartwatches. Send me more about MacBooks. So you can easily build out a journey from that alone. That's how you take Browse 3.0, right? So if I'm looking at a smartwatch, I want to see, and I didn't buy smartwatches, I want to see smartwatches under 100. I want to see smartwatch bestsellers. I want to see top rated smartwatches. I want to see smartwatches on sale. And eventually, most likely, you'll either get the sale, but 100% these will outperform your typical next campaign. So that's how you take Browse to the next level, right? They're viewing a product. They didn't find the right product for themselves, but they're still in the aisle. They're still looking at smartwatches. They came to shop smartwatches. You may not have the one product they were looking at, but you can still show them a variety of your store. Right? Great example again. If I'm shopping for MacBooks, MacBooks, be helpful and send MacBooks under 1,000. MacBook bestsellers, MacBook new arrivals, MacBook bundles, Apple products, MacBooks by color, right? And you think to yourself, this is a super helpful and personalized approach. You become much more of a trusted advisor rather than just someone who's sending another campaign. That's the beauty of going beyond browse. So through Browse Brandon 3.0, use your website to drive exploration. Walk customers through your aisle. Relevant emails and texts are not annoying. They're more personalized. And it's only as good as your product data that you add to your site, right? Clean product data, data dictionary for personalization. All these need to be added to your site. To distill it down further, check out your Shopify collection data. Make sure it's organized, harmonized, in sync with your Klaviyo, making sure that if someone is looking at a product, that the follow-up is a lot more personalized. And that really starts with great data overall. So we did 3, right? We did browse, abandon, cart, and checkout, right? Pretty good flows to level up to another level, to the $1 million flows level right here, right? Let's go deeper. You need one of the most highest traffic places on your site is the search bar. If you put a heat map on your website, you'll find that there's the search bar is super popular. So you have an opportunity to capture search data. So when you capture the search data, send them a search abandon. If they're not buying, or they're not carting, or they're not viewing a product, or they're stuck at search, follow up with a search abandon. Great example, help is here. You were looking for drill bits. Your drill bit search is officially over. Send them a follow-up that there's a drill bit, and we have a whole drill bit collection you may have missed. You may not have explored. And that's the beauty of search abandon. This is one of the most abandoned places on your website, and you have the power to send an email on it. 43% of customers start with search. Search is the most popular starting point. You could trigger automation with your search data. You could send Shopify search data to Klaviyo. So just you need to map out the abandon logic. So therefore, if someone's searching and they view the product, the viewing of the product is deeper in the funnel, right? So therefore, the browse abandon will run. But if they search for an item, didn't take the next step, a search abandon follows up for you. It's a lot more helpful. Think about it again as you go to a store. If you ask customer service, hey, I'm looking for a chair, and they don't know where it is, or they're not sure, or they don't have chairs yet, or maybe the person responsible for chairs isn't there, they'll follow up with you, right? They'll say, I don't have an answer yet, but I'll call you back. That's the search abandon, exactly what it is, right? So this is just the email version of this. Let's go another step further. Let's say I viewed a collection. There are many times when you're sending an email out, you're driving to a collection page, and the collection page has a lot of items, and maybe there's analysis paralysis, and customers are stuck. They don't know where to go next. They're not sure. They're looking at so many options. It's amazing, but so many options. And they didn't view a product, send a collection abandon so they can see more related items. Think of it like you're going to again, another great example of going to a store. You're going to a library and you're looking for fiction books, and you're pointing the right direction for fiction books, and they're like, wow, there's a lot here. You don't even know where to start. So you leave. I don't know where to start. I'm just going to go on Amazon and ask a friend for a recommendation. But the follow-up is where the money is, right? So you know they're looking at the collection. Your next follow-up email sends them recommended items in the collection they were looking at. Very much more personalized approach, right? People are 6 times more likely to purchase when given fewer options. Collection abandon equals fewer but better picks. So if I'm looking at headphones, show me more of those headphones. If I'm looking at AirPods, show me more AirPods, right? Different sizes, different collection, different colors, whatever it may be. It's triggered when you're viewing a collection. You can send Shopify collection data over to Klaviyo. Just need to, again, map out the abandon logic so you're not sending 2 messages to the person for browsing an item, searching an item, or viewing a collection, right? Map out the abandon logic. Same with abandoned site. That's the last one I'll talk about on the flow side for the abandoned funnel. If they're abandoning a site, if they're abandoning your site, retarget them. If they didn't take any action on the site, let's say you sent an email and you drove them to the homepage and they didn't take any action from that. Like, oh, I saw the homepage and nothing there for me yet. I'm not ready yet. Retarget them with a site abandon. 60% of people on your site view UGC, reviews, feedback before trusting a brand. Site abandon means trust isn't there yet. So use your active on site metric, trigger a UGC, story, or founder email, and that's how you can win a little bit more of that trust back. So they'll come back to the store, have a lot more information, feeling better about their potential purchase, and that's how you recover them. Map out that abandon logic again as well. And the last part of my abandoned funnel here is the welcome series, right? The welcome is when you start activating everything in the first place. They have to join your list in the first place, right? So welcome means hand-holding them to purchase. You got to know your CAC, your customer acquisition costs, know your offers, and know the journey you want to take them on. You have an opportunity to capture actionable zero-party data, which I'm about to talk about in a second. And like I talked about, part of our AIM flows strategy, it's got to be appropriate. The welcome flow doesn't need 8 to 10 touches of an email. Just 4 touches is the sweet spot. There's the law of diminishing returns after that. Have an email with the offer they signed up for. Have a story and some user-generated content like your reviews. Have a bestsellers email and new arrivals, showing them more of what they want to buy, less of what you want to sell. That's listening. And one final offer reiteration. After that, there's not much else to gain from it. Do something else with them. I have a whole different flow structure to do after they join the list and don't buy. We call welcome non-buyer. Offer reiteration is the next, okay? But it also starts with a pop-up. Pop-ups with bad zero-party data equals 0 conversions. Give a great example here. There's a brand that my colleague was on, signed up for the list. He has a BMW. He said, oh, I've got a mystery discount from German car accessories. They asked him, what brand is your car in the pop-up? He selected BMW. Do you know how many emails they sent him about BMW? 0. So what was the point of asking in the first place? If you're not going to use the zero-party data you collect from a customer, why even bother, right? So zero-party data that's unused is a waste of time, waste of effort, 0 conversions. So from the pop-up side, make sure you're collecting actionable zero-party data. I'll have a whole session on pop-ups and acquisition later this year. Probably actually I made a podcast episode in March. We're already planning it out with one of the biggest pop-up vendors in the world. So that's going to be a really important way to start listening to customers and reacting to them. Very important to start there. And like I said, Welcome 2.0 is not just about thinking in a silo of email. It's about playing well with other channels, right? A new subscriber joins, send them a welcome email, send them a welcome SMS. Sure, you committed to that. But send the data to Meta and Google. Retarget them. Try and win that new customer. Again, that's how you know your customer acquisition cost. Have customer service call it if you have a high AOV product. If you got their phone number, call it. Try it out. This is for high AOV products, right? We're talking the $5,000 camera. Give them a call, right? Say hello. Send a text message, right? So it's all about playing well with other channels to make sure that you are acquiring that customer and not just sending them emails. So our abandoned funnel is now solved, right? This is our 10-figure abandoned funnel. Welcome, site abandoned, search abandoned, collection abandoned, browse abandoned, cart abandoned, checkout abandoned, and of course, they make a purchase at the very end. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's our first look at our top flows that's going to drive 80% of your flow revenue. These are going to really be the most money making out of all your flows. So invest in these. I've proven this out again, over 225 million in flow revenue generated. Invest in this section of your flows. That's what we do for brands. But as you know, a funnel has a hole at the bottom. And when you're having a funnel approach, that means you get a bunch of one-time buyers. The funnel approach is literally what it is, right? Just like you have a funnel, it sorts it out, and they buy an item, awareness, interest, decision, action, right? AIDA, and they buy. And that's okay if you want to get a quick sale. But if you really want to drive retention and lifetime value, you have to take that funnel and turn it into an hourglass. This is one of our most popular options we do for brands. I mean, it's an hourglass approach. It's a mindset shift that most brands don't have. Most agencies don't even know this either. This is, again, 10-figure thinking, $1 million flows thinking. You take your funnel, you turn it into an hourglass. And there's 4 stages with our hourglass approach that turns that one-time buyer into a lifetime buyer in half the time, every time. Adoption, retention, expansion, advocacy. 4 stages of customer retention. Adoption, is my customer able to adopt the product quickly? Retention, did my customer unlock incremental value from my brand? Expansion, did my customer maximize the potential of their purchase, at which point they can add additional items to maximize their purchase? And advocacy, did the customer find success and is now willing to share feedback? Those 4 stages are the magic of retention, and they have to go in order, right? You can't ask someone to leave a review for your product if they didn't unbox it and use it successfully. It's just dumb, right? You're going backwards. You're being presumptive, right? And if they bought an item and they don't have the opportunity to expand on it, they're not really maximizing their purchase, right? If I bought a camera and I'm not upsold or told to buy a green screen or lighting or a mic right here, like this mic, I'm not maximizing my purchase well enough. And if you do this correctly, you will have a customer for life. And we do this for brands, and that's why they're growing by doubling their revenues every single year. Here's the hourglass in action. I won't go too in depth on it because we have a whole separate whole separate webinar dedicated to the post-purchase hourglass. Adoption. Your order's arrived. Here's what to know about it. This is from the top brands. Harry's. Retention. You've joined, you bought a coffee. You're now part of Starbucks Rewards, right? Expansion. Complete your look from Adidas. Check that out. You have a complete your look and recommended items to go with your tracksuit. And advocacy. Settled in yet? Got the product? You like it? Great. Tell us how much you like it. It goes in order. You got to adopt the product, find value from the brand, expand on it to make sure you can maximize the true value of your purchase, and then you become an advocate for it. That's the magic of it. That's the hourglass in action. Again, don't just upsell or ask for reviews immediately. Map out your 30, 60, 90-day experience. Break your post-purchase into buying tiers. Here's an example of, I wouldn't call this over-engineered. We kind of split it out for 1-time, 2-time, and 3-time buyers, because for 1-time buyer, it's so critical to get them to 2. And from 2, we get them to 3, they become a VIP in our mind. So mapping out that journey is really important on the post-purchase side. And again, focus on the key stages: adoption, retention, expansion, advocacy. That's how you get a customer to become a 1-time buyer into a lifetime buyer. Along that line, there's replenishment, right? Some brands focus on a replenishment campaign. They need to get people to buy more often. But to be honest, if you've perfected the post-purchase hourglass I've just shared with you, the loyalty is there. The trust is there. They'll buy again because you've helped them use the product. You've helped them see the massive value from it. You've educated them on how to use it better. And they're now a fan for life. So replenishment is just, a cherry on top, because you've excelled at post-purchase. That's where brands fall down. They think that they bought a product. Oh, let's get them to buy again in 60 days. We'll ghost them until then, but we'll send a replenishment email backwards, just backwards, right? Instead, do my post-purchase hourglass strategy. Then you focus on replenishment. Replenishment can be anything then, right? And use our AIM strategy by purchase. Again, appropriate, immediate, and money-making. Some of the key stages in replenishment need to be reminders. Be transparent of their timing when they're going to be renewed. 10 days before, just a reminder, you're about to be renewed. Full transparency builds trust. Oh, thank you for the reminder. You know how many times I've been auto-renewed by apps and vendors and technology? I never got a reminder. I'm like, oh my God, where'd my money go? I get frustrated. Renewal. Be helpful when they renew. Be sure to guide them through the process, right? Here's what you need to know when you renew. By the way, we offer this now, or go here, or you don't have to do a thing. Reward them. Make them feel rewarded when they actually do renew. They aren't just someone who's buying a product again. They went from one-time buyer to two-time buyer, or two-time to three-time. That's valuable. That's rewarding. And then also reactivate. If they don't renew, offer to help them come back. That's the 4 R's right there. Reminders, renewal, reward, reactivate. Okay. And that's how you do replenishment correctly. Again, this is the top 10-figure brands thinking right here. It's not about that one product they're here to renew. It's about the idea that they're becoming a much more higher lifetime value customer, and post-purchase helps with that. Next set of flows I want to dive into. Make sure we're a little over time, but I think this is going to be super valuable. Transactional flows. Transactional is king. They're the king of the flows, right? And when you do transactional flows, it's a super highly profitable method of converting your customers. There's a misconception in the world that says you cannot monetize transactional emails, and that's false. Transactional emails are emails a customer expects to receive. So there's an opportunity here to achieve 3 goals. Number 1, get more opt-ins. You see ritual right here. It says give 5, get 5 when you sign up for our list. That's a transactional email right here, right? But they're using it for a goal, build their list. There also is an opportunity to upsell, cross-sell. Amazon does a great job at this. This is Sephora. This is Cult Beauty right here, right? They just bought a product. You just signed up for the VIP club, and they're upselling you or cross-selling you new items. And that's great. You can do this in transactional emails because it's relevant. It's what a customer doesn't mind seeing. And then finally, the third goal is customer data. Get more data on your customers. Take our survey, join our list, tell us why you purchased. How's our website experience? All that is an opportunity to get zero-party data and first-party data from your customers. So transactional is the king of the flows. So transactional 2.0, you want to get, again, these are messages that the customer expects to receive. You want to monetize your transactional messages with those 3 goals. It's the highest engagements of all, and really put product recommendations on everything, right? Because it's really the algorithmically driven opportunities to convert them. And Shopify and Klaviyo has a ton of metrics as long as you're listening. SMS transactional is super helpful. This brand had $44,000 in revenue from SMS transactional alone, just because the customer wanted to see it, right? We call it our unboxing SMS. It's here's what to do next. Part of our adoption phase. You just got this item. Here's what to do next once it's delivered. It's crushing it. $44,000 when their shipment's confirmed, right? Because it's helpful and it's part of our post-purchase hourglass strategy. Next set of flows to focus on. These are, again, I'm going from the best, highest revenue drivers to more of the lower ones. So now we're talking about product triggers. The key to success of these is not just opt-ins, right? You want to focus on people who viewed an item. So let's say I viewed this item from Uniqlo and I didn't buy the item. Some brands will only send to people who notify them when this item's in stock. And that's great, but people are viewing this item too. It could be a pre-order. It could be an item that is coming soon. It could be a Kickstarter, whatever it may be. Focus on a deeper audience for that. Making sure all your feeds are consistent within your emails. You're putting recommendations for items that are related to the one that's out of stock. And some of the best triggers are back in stock, new arrival, low stock, price drop. All these are great triggers to turn on. Won't make as much money as the other ones I just talked about, but still good to add to the portfolio after the other ones are built. Then there's churn and risk of churn, where the most important part of this is that you don't just want to win back people. You want to focus on prevention and know your churn rates. Where's the drop off? prevention is 80% the cure. So if you can prevent someone from churning with risk of churn, you'll do a lot better. It's 8 times more effective than trying to win them back after they did churn. And the good thing about this is you can run campaigns for this to your win-back audience. I just did a campaign for one of our 8-figure brands, win-back campaign. What am I going to do with that? I tested it, tested the subject lines, tested the copy and the creatives, and I'm going to take the winner and turn that into a flow because I could test on the campaign in minutes. And then the flow will just run every single day. And of course, you can multiply that for multi-channels, SMS, push, and paid as well. So risk of churn, a lot more valuable than churn. So try that out. Next is re-engagement, right? Where you're kind of trying to reactivate your list and re-engage them. And again, not a good moneymaker because frankly, you're just there to get them to say, I'm still available, right? I'm still here. I still want to hear from you. And it helps keep your deliverability rates high. And I found the best way to engage them is with CEO letters right here. Very simple structure, a letter from the CEO. They know, some people call it now founder-led emails, whatever that means. Founder-led emails is okay. Yeah, sure. A letter from the CEO is how, same thing. 3 touches, call to attention. Just, hey, just want to make sure you're still available. You still want to hear from us. Join other channels, right? Don't just say, hey, would you like to still get our emails? Maybe they prefer SMS. Maybe they prefer Instagram. Maybe they prefer WhatsApp. Maybe they prefer push. So invite them to join other channels so you don't lose the relationship entirely. And then finally, sunset. When you don't delete them, you just suppress them. Again, not a big money maker. So part of our aim flow fit strategy doesn't necessarily focus on this one too much. This is easy to do. I don't expect a ton of money, but the aim flow fit strategy focuses on the ones that are making real money. Now that we dived into the top flows that are working, I want to just do a quick peek at what the multiplication phase does for this too, right? So you can understand that once the flows are built, these $1 million flows, you're also going to be able to multiply it to the next level to scale the flows way beyond. So before, freelancers and email marketers, again, make everything about the email. And so they turn on this fancy automation, over-engineered, and send 30 emails in one flow. And again, law of diminishing returns, only the top 3 or 4 touches will do anything. So before, basic abandoned automations built around email. After, using our $1 million flows framework, all channels work in unison to achieve retention. With our multiplication phase, email, SMS, Meta, Google, phone, customer service, push, mailings, all of them work on your retention goals together. That's multiplication. We've multiplied it for different channels and different opportunities. Great example, right? This brand right here, you may have sent a browse abandoned email, but you can also send a browse abandoned text. And you should be running retargeting emails for anyone who abandoned their browse right here. And then you can also run on Google Ads a retargeting for that watch as well. And then you can also, depending on the cost of the watch, follow up with them with customer service. That's multiplication, right? Multiply journeys into new channels, online and offline. Final look again at the results of this, right? This brand went from $46,000 to $187,000 in 90 days. Another one went from $0 to $80,000 in 30 days with these flows. Another one went from $21,000 to $78,000 in new revenue with this flow framework. And another one went from $98,000 to $326,000 in just 90 days with our $1 million flows framework right there. So we're at the tail end here. Quick recap of my $1 million flows masterclass. So you've seen why your flows need fixing now. You've spotted the people in the tech that are holding you back. You're not able to get to the next level because of those people, because of that mindset, because of that technology. You've learned my AIM flows framework strategy, right? Appropriate, immediate, and money making. That's how we identify the best flows for your brand. You found the 4 ways to implement it, right? You got to be able to listen, know your metrics, repurpose winning campaigns, right? Know the customer journey and meet the customer where they're at. That's the key behind it. And you know the right flows to turn on and perfect by looking at my swipe and deploy $1 million flows, right? You've seen exactly which flows are going to move the needle the most. The abandoned funnel. And then after that, the post-purchase hourglass. Now you just need to get it done. That's it. And the result when you do is no more overspending, no more oversending, and overworking, but rather you'd be able to double your revenues instantly. Let's get into what to do next, right? So my offer to you today, I will get your $1 million flows framework done for you all for a one-time fee. We're doing this for a select group of brands, only about 5 to 6 brands this month, for a one-time fee only. Your investment. We'll give you this $1 million flow strategy and ideation. We'll build out those 7 essential flows I talked about, pretty much the hourglass. No, I'm sorry, not the hourglass, the entire flow structure we have, the abandoned funnel, the hourglass, wherever it may be. We'll create a custom brand plan, custom avatar and email copyright for your brand, a UX-based high-converting email designs, complete flow build and installation into your email platform, a high-performing sign-up and pop-up form to power the flows, and give you unlimited copy and creative revisions. And again, you own the template, you own everything there from there on. Total for about $29.97. That's about 30% cheaper than anyone else in the industry. And best of all, 100% money back guarantee. Our high spirits guarantee, if our flows don't increase your flow revenues by at least 20%, you'll get 100% of your money back, no questions asked. And if you don't love our designs, communication, flow setup, or copywriting, you'll also get 100% of your money back. It's a win-win. If you want to see the expected ROI, I will send you a link to our $1 million flows calculator, where you can actually see down to the dollar, depending on the size of your brand, it could be a $30,000 a month brand or a $100,000 a month brand, how much incremental revenue our flows will deliver for your brand. We've seen flows 6x their revenue. We've seen brands 6x their flow revenue, and we've seen brands that are literally gone 20x their flow revenue from our structure because we have a plan. AIM flows framework, swipe and deploy flows, proven omnichannel approach, all there. But that's not all we're going to do. As a special bonus for the brands that come on board within the next 30 days, bonus number 1, we give a free pilot campaign done for you after launch, right? Your flows are like an engine, but unless you're fueling up with gas and pushing the pedal to the metal with the campaigns, you're not going to get off the ground, right? So we do a free pilot campaign done for you. Same setup. And this brand right here was making $8,000 from a campaign that they used to build. We came in, our first pilot campaign made $32,000 because we tripled our clicks, doubled their conversions, and no discounts, best of all. So we actually will make money from campaigns, and our flows will do the follow-up for us. Bonus number 2, you get free access to my email SMS playbooks vault. You can see right here, we have a ton of content, probably about $12,000 to $15,000 worth of content in our vault that you can use for any time of year. Our roadmap, our $100 million tech strategy, customer retention playbook, Black Friday playbook, AI for email, you name it, we have a piece of content on it. That'll be very helpful. So that's bonus number 2. Bonus number 3, I'm also going to give you the secret apps and tech stack that will double your flow sales even more. There are a lot of vendors and apps that you may not know about, right? That are going to be able to identify more abandoners and create more dynamic emails, create videos for you, and create more conditional logic. All of this will be included because I'll teach you how to take your flows from the $1 million flows level to another level, to a multi-million-dollar flows level. That's how our apps and vendors, that's why we work together with very, very closely with some of the biggest apps and vendors in the world to deliver even more value for you. So you'll get access to those too, and I'll tell you exactly how to implement it. And finally, bonus number 4, I'm going to give you a direct line to myself, right? We don't just, have clients in and, it's funny. One of our vendors said most email marketing agencies just churn and burn. Our clients stay with us for about 2 to 3 years, right? Because we're good at retention. If we're good at retention, we're going to be great at retention for you too. We're not churning and burning your list, just like other agencies, right? So you got a direct line to me. And one of the things that makes us valuable is that I'm always available to talk to you about anything because I've been at the top brands. I probably have a recommendation for you, not just on email or SMS, but also on CRO, paid ads, blogs, website dev. I have ideas and tips for you that I know from the top brands. So you get a bonus direct line to me at all times. If you want to get started, go to milliondollarflows.com. You can also scan the QR code and we'll get it underway. And as you can see from most of our clients, most agencies are mediocre at best, right? They share an audit and they kind of don't really get off the ground. Ours is one of the best. We start with just a quick glance at your brand, make sure everything is good, but you can get started with our flows instantly. Watch the video there. You'll get more information about what we do. And hands down, the best email SMS retention agency we've ever had, right? Again, that's what happens when you're thinking at a 10-figure level, not a 5-figure level. You get that expertise. It accelerates your brand a lot faster than anyone else. Scan the QR code. We had a level of expertise we simply lacked. Again, 8-figure Amazon brand, seeing the power we brought to their email and SMS retention program, not just from flows, but also from campaigns. Email is now our fastest growing revenue stream to our store. This brand used to think email was dead. Now it's their fastest growing revenue stream. Scan the code. You can access that same exact logic. You took our email program to a level I never knew about, right? This brand accelerated really fast. A retailer, biking retailer, they crushed it. Tripled their revenues in 90 days. Amazing stuff. We doubled sales in year one, but doubling them again this year is mind-blowing. That's Ricky, a 7-figure DTC brand, doubling their revenues. It works year in, year out. You've outpaced our growth from every channel, even on Amazon. That's Mark, a 7-figure DTC brand. This brand went from 7 figures to 8 figures in 6 months with our strategy. Huge. That's scale. That's what you mean by scaling, right? Scan the QR code to get that exact service. And that's why we're trusted by over 150 plus retailers and brands. So again, to end the webinar, simple price, zero risk. We'll do the entire $1 million flows strategy and ideation, 7 essential flows for you. Email and SMS, by the way. Custom brand plan, customer avatar, email copywriting, UX-based high-converting email designs, complete flow build and installation to your ESP, swipe and deploy. High-performing sign-up form to power your flows, unlimited copy and creative revisions, and you own it. And again, it's less than $3,000, which is actually what you pay an agency every single month. People come to us and they're like, "Wow, I can do this for one time." Yeah, on our webinar, you can do this for one time. It's actually 30% cheaper than any other agency out there. You get 4 exclusive bonuses plus 100% money back guarantee. It's probably the best value I've ever given on a webinar ever. So I'm excited to offer it and go from there. That's going to be our end of Q1 offer, and it ends at the end of Q1. Thank you so much for joining me on our $1 Million Flows webinar. I went a little over time, but there's a lot of value in here that's packed in. So I'm super excited to see you review it and watch the recap. If you want to take your basic and broken and boring flows that are driving your revenue way down and turn them into $1 million flows, you can get started at milliondollarflows.com. We're already accepting applications for March. Again, we're only limited to about 5 brands, right? We can only absorb as much as 5 brands before we scale up to the next level. So I invite you to book it really fast. Join over 150 brands right now, perfecting their flows and going way beyond those basic ones, thinking at a 10-figure level using our AIM Flows Fit strategy and framework. And that's what's going to help fuel your 2026 revenue goals. Thank you so much for joining me. Super excited to see you there. Book the call. Go to milliondollarflows.com to get started. And I will see you on our next webinar. Take care.